How we doing, everybody? Just getting back from last night in Soho, and I'm going to make this a non-spoiler review, mostly because I have very little time to actually to edit. There's so much production going on right now. But I felt very strongly about this film, and I wanted to do a little review on it. I was very excited to see this film. I love the genre. I love period pieces, and I liked the idea of someone seeing someone in a different time. So I liked all the different aspects, and I'm a big fan of Anya TaylorJoy. I've seen her in just about everything that she's done. Of course, The Queen's Gambit and Split are probably her most famous ones. But I loved her in New Mutants. Is not a good movie, but she did such a great job as Magic in there, and Magic is I like the character of Magic. I forgot that she was in Vampire Academy as well. That's probably where she started. Morgan, that was the other one that I saw where she was the assassin. That was the first time I'd ever seen her, and I thought she was great in that. And I don't think she even had any lines in the whole movie, but just her intensity in that film was phenomenal. And if you've never seen it, you should probably check it out if you're a fan of hers. But she does a really great job no matter what she's in. And of course, when I saw her in Split, and then she did another movie where it was just the two of them, two actors going back and forth, a low budget, Thoroughbreds. So, anyways, she does a lot of different things, and she's always intense. And she has this, because of her eyes that are so far apart, she has this very exotic look to her. And when she gets all dolled up, she just looks gorgeous. And now we put her in this 60s attire, and the costumes in this film are great. The hair and makeup is out of this world. They did such a great job. I can tell that this was a passion piece for a lot of people and a lot of departments. And the acting is great, and Matt Smith does a really good job as well. And he's, also a very eclectic type of actor where he can kind of do anything. He's, of course, from Doctor Who. And I also liked him in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I thought he was very funny in that. But he's another one of those actors that can do just about anything. And then, of course, Diana Rigg, who I thought was going to have a small part in this, but she ends up having a very large part. And of course, she's famous, obviously, from Game of Thrones, but she's also very famous for being the very first Emma Peel from the Avengers, not the Iron Man Avengers, but the very first Avengers back in the 60s. We had a great cast of characters and a great cast of actors. And of course, there's also this newcomer, Thomasin McKenzie from Old and Jojo Rabbit. Again, she holds the movie together because without her performance, without the audience liking her, the film falls apart. And of course, we also have Terrence Stamp in there, who will, in my mind, forever be known as Zod. But he was Zod from the Superman 2 movie with Christopher Reeve. So again, we have this huge, such a powerful cast in this thing, and we have a hair and makeup team, and we have a set designing team, and everything that was just made this movie look beautiful. The DP was very good. I don't know who the DP was. And then the actor Michael Ajoa, Ajoaa, he was the love interest, but not a standout character and not a standout actor. He really didn't add anything to the film as far as I'm concerned. He could have anybody could have played that role and it would have been fine. So this was written and directed by Edgar Wright. He wasn't the only writer on it. Edgar Wright's directed a pile of stuff. So did Baby Driver, which I really like. Baby Driver. I thought that was a really good movie. He's worked with some great actors. It really has. And again, the movie is beautiful to watch. I mean, all the stuff in the 60s. They had this one dance sequence where Matt Smith was spinning Anya TaylorJoy, and she was constantly turning back to the other character, the Ellie character. So it's Ellie is Thomason's character, and then Anya Taylor-Joy is Sandy. So I'm just going to call them from that. And Jack is I don't remember everybody's name, so that's good. And Jack is Matt Smith's character. So he's spinning her around the dance floor, and she's constantly changing back and forth. They'll see each other through the mirror, or at least we see the reflection of Ellie in the mirror, which again is not any spoilers, so you can see that in the trailer. But just all that stuff is shot just so beautifully, and the effects are seamless, and it's really really interesting and delightful to watch, and it keeps you wanting to know more. However, it's also penned by Christy Wilson Carnes, who was a staff writer on Penny Dreadful. He's also written 1917, so of course that's probably where her claim to fame is. And I think she's actually going to be working on a Star Wars film with Taika Waititi. So here's where the writing, for me, where this film falls apart, because the first and second act are great. I'm like, okay, this is a really, really great film. And third act falls apart. Just falls apart. And it's, I don't know why writers can't stick a landing, especially when you have a hyphenate here. When I say a hyphenate, I mean you've got a writer-director, So the only person he can blame is himself. I know we have, Christie's in there as the second writer, but he has all the power, outside of the producer. And the producer's probably not going to get involved too much unless, he or she feels strongly about something, because he's a writer-director. So you're not going to mess with that too much. Who would know the material better, and he can do his own rewrites and all that stuff. But the third act just falls apart, and it's a bait and switch. And I don't even mean that in the whodunit kind of way. I mean it in the fact that he breaks his own rules. So he sets up these kind of rules for how this supernatural thing kind of works, and then he goes, "Ha ha, gotcha, yo, gotcha, you didn't see it coming." So it's almost that M. Night Shyamalan thing where he's like, I got to have the gotcha in there, so I'm willing to destroy my own film to get the gotcha. And that's how I felt when they finally did the reveal, and I was just like, what, huh? What? Yeah, of course I never saw it coming, because you just broke all your rules. You just spent the last hour and a half setting up how this whole world works, and then you just broke it. So, anyway, so when you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But and I won't go into it, because obviously this if I spoil it, you just spoil the whole movie. But anyway, when you're seeing it, just take it with a grain of salt. When the last act happens, that you're like, okay, this was what I was warned about. So let's just enjoy the film for what it is. And that's what you kind of have to do, because the end also gets like cheesy horror with it. So it was smart, and then it goes cheesy horror and breaks its own rules. When they were reading this thing, didn't somebody say, can't we come up with something a little smarter than this? And can't we kind of stick the landing and stay in our lane? But anyway, that's my problems with it. That the fact that it doesn't stick the landing. You keep that in mind when you see it. And if I'm going to rate this film, first of all, again, acting, production value, special effects, look and feel, all the neon lights of London, and the whole thing, and seeing this deconstruction of the characters as it goes, all really good stuff. So it's unfortunate the ending just ruined it. But anyway, so I would say out of 10, it should have been more like a 9, but it's a 7 because the ending ruins it. But anyway, that's my my little quick review of Last Night in Soho. It's funny because I walked into, they were doing a special thing for Ghostbusters in one of the theaters, and I walked in there and I ended up sitting there for like 40 minutes watching freaking Ghostbusters that I've watched 10 million times. But it was neat to see it on the big screen, which I haven't seen since first was released in the 80s. What a great movie that was. The 80s was a really good time for movies. Anyway, have a great weekend. Go see the film. Let me know what you think of it. And, maybe we can have a discussion on the spoiler side of things when I get more time to do that. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.